Welcome, movie fans. Thanks for joining us for episode 100 of Reading Between the Reels, the premier podcast of epic frickin' team-ups. If you're a new listener, we're so glad you found us. If you've been enjoying the show, please subscribe and review us on iTunes or Spotify. You can also support the show by posting on your socials and joining our Facebook group. I'm Craig Dickinson, and I'm joined as always by my co-hosts Corey Heitschmidt and Justin Eldon. How's it going, fellas?
Hello. I got
They're overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
It's like when the Avengers assemble. This is like just a hall of heroes right here in front of me.
It's kind of nuts. Yeah, today on the show, we are thrilled to be joined by several of our friends to help us celebrate episode 100 of Reading Between the Reels. Tonight, we have Ross Hollebon from the album Cockpit Podcast, Thomas Riddle from Imagineering Education, David Motters from Star Wars Reactions, Dan Zehr from Cockpit with Kenobi, also from Cockpit with Kenobi, and the designer of our logo, Cory Clubb. And last but certainly not least, Dennis Keithley from podcast Stardust. Welcome, fellas. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
Ready to fire away.
Let's do this. Congratulations on 100 episodes, you guys. What an amazing accomplishment.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, we want to do something special, and it's special already. I'm pretty excited. So we have a number of questions we're going to go through, and I'm going to give you guys. We're going to go in that same order. That actually is the order I think of people that said I'm in right off. So it's not alphabetical. It's literally just I was the first one to say I volunteer as tribute. So we're going to start the first question or the first category. First movie you ever saw that you can remember. So Ross, I'm going to start with you.
All right, so I have my answer, but I have to give my mom props first because I reached out to her to say, do you remember what movie I saw first? And she thinks it was either Pete's Dragon or one of the Herbie the Love Bug movies. So 1977 would have been Pete's Dragon and Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. The first movie I remember seeing is Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger, which was released in 1977, and I saw it at the Bowie Library in the late 70s.
Survivor did the soundtrack for that, right?
Yeah, I don't know that Survivor was even born yet for that one.
You might want to check your facts.
Nice. Thomas, what about you? First movie you ever saw?
So the first movie I was ever present at and did not see, I learned from my mom, was 2001: A Space Odyssey. She was pregnant with me.
Ooh.
And so, I heard it, I guess, and experienced part of it. She said she fell asleep. I guess I wore her out. But the first movie that I do remember seeing, and actually I think it's my first movie in the theater, was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So not the animated Disney, but the live action version. That was a little trippy. But yeah, it was 1972, so I was 3 years old. Still remember that. Still had the program that for some reason that they were giving away. But yeah, that was a sleeper on mine. I'd forgotten about that. But that's it. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
All right, David, first movie.
Yeah, I think like Ross. For me, it was Pete's Dragon. I was kind of scanning my memory banks. Yeah, I think it was one of those, remember when Disney was on The Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights and they would run a movie and I was just trying to run through my head. And I think as a kid, that's one of the first things I remember was the kind of the animated and live action aspects of Pete's Dragon. So when Ross said that, my eyes got big. So Pete's Dragon is it for me.
Nice. Dan, what about you?
I've actually never been to the theater. Just kidding. Honestly, I mean, I'm looking at the Disney list. It has to be a Disney movie because we were pretty well dialed into that, as were all of us. It was probably Peter Pan or Pete's Dragon, and you know how they would re-release them all the time in theaters before we had digital or streaming or VHS or Betamax. So it's probably one of the same ones that David did, because Pete's Dragon came out in 77, but I didn't actually see Star Wars till the summer of 1978. So I know it wasn't Star Wars. I saw it later.
Once or twice.
Couple times.
You have now seen the movie. That's good.
I have.
Mr. Clubb. What's the first movie you ever seen?
So for me, this was reaching back into the memory bank. I couldn't think of a movie necessarily off the top of my head, but I was thinking through, like, does this, like, first movie you saw, like, on TV with the commercials and everything, you kind of analyze or go to the movie theater. So I really started thinking about movies that, like, I sat down as a family and watched. And the classic comes to mind. Ernest Goes to Camp from 1987.
No.
Barney
I love
carrying
Ernest.
the glass and doing facial expressions and just
Oh,
everything
my.
about that movie I loved. But that's one that comes to mind that just really way back in there. So I'll call my mom after this and ask her. I wonder if she knows. I did not do that.
I love that so much.
I feel like you hired a joke writer for that answer.
Yeah, the late Jim Varney. Yes.
Oh, R.I.P. Dennis, what about you? First movie?
So I had to think about this as well, and I knew it was one of two movies. Option A was either The Jungle Book or it was Star Wars: A New Hope. So I contacted my dad because I remember going to both those movies with him, and he thought about it, and then he called me back and he said it was definitely Star Wars: A New Hope. And he couldn't remember if it was in 77 or 78 that we went, but he does remember that I fell asleep halfway through the movie. But
I see that.
it probably is also the third, fourth, and fifth movie that I saw as well, because we went to the drive-ins with my brothers because they were a little younger, and we went to that movie quite a bit. So it's no surprise that I'm in fact as big a Star Wars fan as I am, because that was force-fed to me at that age.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great. Justin, Mr. Eldon, first movie.
All right. So I didn't know if this was like first movie I remember seeing or first movie in theater, but I took it as first movie I remember seeing, and I couldn't narrow it down. Like, I have a couple because I wasn't quite sure. They're all just like securely embedded in me. And I think this says a weird thing about like the 90s and what the 90s was, what they were pushing. But Great Mouse Detective, Rescuers Down Under, Secret of Nim, or Feifel Goes West, and they're all mouse movies for some reason. I don't know, like, why, like, my mom was pushing that on me, or maybe the 90s. I don't know. But all of those movies still solid. Like, I'd watch those still. Classics,
Yeah.
all of them.
Is this? Are you previewing that Ratatouille is going to show up later on your list?
No, I actually don't like that movie. That's not a good
Ooh.
movie for me.
Wow. Cory Schmidt.
All right. Now, I'm just going to say, like, this is a great cross-section here between 70s, 80s, and 90s movies, thanks to Justin and his Secret of Nim comments there. I think, and I also got to give a mention to the drive-ins, because I think that helped a lot of these movies. I've missed those days of drive-ins. I remember those. But my first movie that I remember seeing, I don't know if this is the first movie I ever saw. I doubt it. But I remember very, very small bits of it, though. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. I was 6 years old. Remember seeing that. I even remember being scared in a couple parts with the at the end where he dies and the FBI guys come in, and I remember that being just a little scary to me. But man, it was great. And then after that, I remember wanting a BMX bike for the longest time. So yeah, I didn't fly like that, but I always wished it did.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's the Muppet movie, 1979.
Excellent.
I know that was in the theater. I would have been probably three and a half that summer. And the only thing I remember is Animal being very, very big. That's literally the only thing I remember. But yeah, that's my earliest movie memory.
Oh man.
All right, on to the next category. Funniest movie you've ever seen. I struggled with this one, but I'm going to give that to Ross. We're back around to you. Ross, what's the funniest movie you've ever seen?
Yeah, that is absolutely struggle bus going through this one. This was the list that was the biggest for me, and I had to start paring away. But I went to Reaction in the theater, and it was with a group of friends. And I don't know that anyone will come close to this one, but American Pie.
Nice.
There is some definite funny stuff in that movie.
So
Yeah.
I just remember like being embarrassed by a couple of my friends and how hard they laughed, and it wouldn't stop. So it would keep feeding off of one another. So it was the whole experience that tied into it as well.
Yeah.
And no official word on if his response is because of the nudity or not.
Well, I remember that movie.
Thomas, what about you? What's your funniest movie you've ever seen?
Oh man, this one was hard. First thing that came to mind was does a concert that's a movie count? So Eddie Murphy's Raw. I remember again, just I took my I had a friend that went with me, and she was I didn't know she hardly laughed. I think she was so shocked. I was rolling. But that one just came to mind. But what's funny is that as I thought about it, kind of what was humorous to me was different at different times of life, because you had things like Weird Science and things like that, that were when I was a teenager, that were just hilarious. And as I got older, that kind of shifted to like Vacation. I really appreciated so much more as a dad, having taken cross-country trips, or even then date night. My wife and I will watch date night and roll on the floor because it's just so, we're like, yeah, that's us, So it's kind of been funny that that's what I have found to be humorous movies have changed through different stages of life. But the first one that came to mind, I just got to go with the knee jerk, was Raw.
Nice. David, what about you? It's the funniest movie.
Yeah, Caddyshack for me. The Bill Murray in particular, as the groundskeeper and all of his stuff, all of his antics with the gopher, and my friends and I to this day, we'll just run into and just start quoting his whole meeting with the Dalai Lama, flowing robes, bald head, striking, So I mean, it's just going to happen. So, and then multiple other parts with. Ted Knight, who played Judge Schmales. All his stuff too. I mean, it's just
even the name is funny.
Yeah, exactly. So Caddyshack for me.
Nice. Dan, what about you?
I don't even have to think about it. It's Blazing Saddles. Like I want to be incredibly clear. It's insanely offensive, and you have to understand the context. It's like a Huck Finn style of storytelling, because there's a lot of shock in it. There's some pretty offensive homophobic stuff. But when I first saw it, it's insanely funny. Co-written by Richard Pryor. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. There are plenty of others I could do a top 50 easy, but Blazing Saddles all the way.
Nice. Cory Clubb.
Yeah, like you said, this is a tough one. This was a hard one for me, and kind of went through the growings up of myself as a young kid. Obviously, you laugh at everything. As a teenager, you tend to laugh at everything. But when you start dating, start getting serious with someone, like things cool off, right? And so, wife and I will still quote this movie to this day, only because it's kind of a place in our heart, but we still crack up over it. This is Saving Silverman from 2001, also another Jason Biggs movie. But Steve Zahn is in it, Jack Black, Amanda Peet, and there's like a lot of quotable things. I think a comedy movie should be quotable. You're poking at each other and having fun. But it's kind of a hidden gem, if you will. A giant Neil Diamond is actually in there. So.
Oh yeah, Neil Gaiman.
Wrong person.
Nice. Dennis, what about you?
So, yeah, like everybody else, I had a hard time deciding what this was going to be. And I wrote a list, and some of the movies that you all mentioned were on it. Airplane was on it. Naked Gun was on it. But I couldn't decide if any of those were really the funniest movie I had seen. And so I ended up going with my favorite funny movie for this one. So kind of copying out a bit, and that would be Clue. I watch this movie at least once a year. It was a year or two ago. I got to go to the Alamo Draft House here in the Dallas area. and do the quote along, the showing that they did, and had the time of my life with all the props that they put at the chair. But my entire family sits down and watches that all the time. And so, yeah, that's the one for me.
Did you see the Psych version of the movie Clue? The
Yes.
TV show Psych did a Clue with the characters. The actual characters came back for it. Phenomenal.
Yeah, we're huge Psych fans. We've got the entire series on DVD, and we've been rewatching it on Peacock and love it. That's a fantastic episode.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Justin.
All right. So, like previously said by everybody, I think like it's hard to narrow this down, but I think in my mind, like a good funny movie comes from its quotability, especially with friends and family. So this may not be the funniest movie, but Oh Brother, Where Art Thou from 2000.
Good movie.
That movie. the dry humor, George Clooney in there, the way he delivers so many of those lines, the endless quotability from that movie. It's fantastic.
Yep, we're in a tight spot.
Cool.
I've never seen it, and I've never seen Clue. I need these on my list.
Nice. Oh. Dual purpose for this episode. Corey Hedgman, what's your funniest movie?
All right. So I had one movie instantly pop into my mind, and just I started listing a ton of other movies that I love because I love comedies, and I was like, okay, can they top this one? Because this one has been so pivotal to me ever since I grew up. I remember seeing it in theaters twice. Spaceballs. Absolutely love that movie. I'm going to flat out say it's the funniest movie I've ever seen, but like one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. The best spoof of all time. And
why did it take so long for someone to say that movie?
I just said the quote today. This has been a thing for the last year. Anytime I cannot get technology to work or I go something and something broke, I automatically just say F. Even in the future, nothing works. Because that's just where we're at. We're so techie. And then the pop machine in the store today didn't work. And I was like, are you kidding me? How do you not have a pop machine working? So it's like, there we go. My quotable movie all the time.
So then you walked over to the Mr. Coffee?
And then walked over to Mr. Coffee. Yeah, that's right. When did this happen in the movie? I love that movie. It is so good.
That was in my top 4, so that was one that I whittled away.
Nice.
I was hoping it was in someone's movie, and I was afraid someone would say it. But
oh my goodness. Yeah, this is multiple drafts for me. Like we've all said this. Like really, I think it does come down to quotable, and it's so hard to narrow this down. But for me, I'm going to go with This Is Spinal Tap.
Oh my
I
gosh.
love Christopher Guest. I mean, it was hard to narrow it down from this, Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, but it's the first one, and there's a fine line between clever and stupid, and this film skirts that edge so beautifully.
I've never seen it, but I've heard you talk about it enough. I feel
man.
Yeah, see it?
Yeah, it's amazing. Super quotable, and yeah, it's a great one. Let's see. We are back to Ross, and now we're going the other way. Saddest movie you've ever seen?
So I have taken saddest and taken it to most emotional, just because it ties in that way a little bit. My dad fought in Vietnam and was injured in Vietnam and spent a year in traction afterwards. It was so bad with everything that happened there. And he was 2 years younger than when I saw Saving Private Ryan in the theater. And I was like, my boss, I was at training camp for the Ravens working. And for at least a day, if not 2, like I hardly talked. And my boss was just like, are you okay? Is everything good? But it just, especially that beginning scene, just meant so much to me, and thinking like, wow, I'm older than my dad was when he went through something similar here. So that is where the more emotional side comes from, but just super impactful.
Wow. Yeah. Thomas, saddest movie you've ever seen?
Well, when I was a kid, it was no doubt Old Yeller. You know, that came up in conversation today, actually, with someone on a completely different subject. But as an adult, I think The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is one that really always punches me in the gut on multiple levels. but that was the first one that came to mind. That ending is just yeah, gut wrenching.
David, what about you?
I think Ross and I have looked at the same paper. I'm already vibing with him between Pete's Dragon and now Saving Private Ryan. But I saw it in the theater. I remember seeing it. Never want to see it again. Need to watch it every year. I've said that many times on our own podcast. But between Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List, two movies that probably every American need to watch every year, but staggeringly sad, but important. But multiple points in Saving Private Ryan. But I'm curious to see, Ross, what else you've got. I think I'm just gonna.
You're my LJ
Ross
sounder
says
this episode now, because LJ and I share a brain on everything we do.
So there it is, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah. Dan, what about you?
You should have put sad first and then.
I know,
funniest
right?
movie.
Yeah,
Why are you
I'm
doing
realizing
that?
that right now.
Mine is one I haven't thought about in decades. It's My Life with Michael Keaton and Nicole Kidman.
Oh, that's good.
About a man who has a beautiful wife, and they're having a baby, and all of a sudden he finds out he's got terminal cancer. He's got 4 months to live, so he does a video diary of every topic he can think of under the sun, because he's not going to get to meet his child, and so just so he can have a part of this child's formation. And like even now thinking about it, it's very heavy and very personal and sad.
Oh, that's
Thanks again, Craig. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bringing us down. Cory Clubb.
Yeah. So recently, my son has been watching through the Ryan Gosling movies, and he's like, "Dad, you have to see this movie." And maybe I gave it away already, but I had never seen it. He's like, "Mom, you didn't watch it too. It's really good." And it's La La Land. Movie is an incredible movie in itself, but the way it ends, I mean, the ending is spectacular, but it's so gut wrenching, like you said, like an alternate take on what could have been, and it didn't come to be. And it just isn't that exactly what love is, kind of to some degree. But like, boy, that was what a build up to two characters having shared such a bond, and then it just goes different. So yeah, there you go. That one got me most recently.
Nice. Dennis, what about you?
This was a pretty easy call for me. I can't remember what the class was in college, but we were all doing presentations, and at least like 6 or 7 people used clips from this movie. And it got to the point where the professor said, "Okay, we're just going to sit down and watch it this weekend." And so we did. It was Schindler's List. And by the end of the movie, everybody was bawling. And there was like 20 some of us in there. I've never watched the movie again. It's fantastic. It was powerful. As David said, you got to see it at some point. And that moved me in a way that I didn't expect. And I mean, I was trying to hold those tears back in, but just couldn't when I saw that.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Justin.
All right. Well, I feel quite a bit more sheltered than the rest of you right now, because this is pretty trivial compared. But Toy Story 3.
That's good. That's good.
Well,
That's a good pick.
That is, man.
Those movies were such like a huge part of my childhood. Like I remember as a kid firmly believing my toys were alive, and I don't know. I really liked, like, I played with Legos a lot, and I collected and played with action figures for so much of my childhood. Like I just remember hours and hours in my room playing with my toys, and those movies kind of grew up with me. So when at the end of that movie, when Andy, like, see, I'm getting goosebumps right now. When Andy like gives away his toys to the next generation, it's so like heartwarmingly sad that it's passed on in such like a positive way. And then they made the 4th one and just kind of like ruined all that, but whatever. No, but yeah, Toy Story 3, and then runner up would be, I don't know if you've ever seen A Little Princess. That movie kind of made for like it's like a little girl movie, but it's really sad. Anyway, It's like this guy, this dad that goes off to war and he gets amnesia and he forgets who his daughter is and his daughter's having like a terrible time. Anyway, it's really sad.
Oh,
No, that's a great film. I'll agree with you on that one.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, Schmidt, what about you?
All right. So I was thinking about, I mean, this is a heavy subject, Craig, on this one, but it could easily be any Pixar movie because I cry in all of those now for some reason. When I watch those with my kids, I'm always like, look away, don't look at your dad cry. But
It's allergies.
the one movie in this that is the saddest movie is one I was forced to watch in college for a music class because I missed a class and I had to make it up. The teacher said, watch this movie, Immortal Beloved, with Gary Oldman, and at the end you write a paper on it and turn it in. And I had no idea what I was watching. If I was like, oh, whatever, but it's an easy grade. And I watched that movie and it has always stuck with me. One, Gary Oldman is fantastic in that movie. Two, I had no idea the depths of Beethoven's life and the love that he never got. It's even made me look at music differently in some of the classics and how they composed them because of a scene he describes in there where he's going to meet the love of his life and then events just work against him and he doesn't. She leaves and marries someone else. And anyway, it is such a sad, terrible story. And I've like tried to watch it again and I'm just like, oh gosh, this movie just kills me. So, but it was a fantastic, sad movie that to this day still sticks with me as a tremendous movie that I've watched that makes me so sad for his life.
Okay. For me, some of the ones that I had on my list have already been mentioned, so I'm going to go with The Fox and the Hound.
Oh.
Yeah. Hound dog.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little kid when I first saw that, and I remember we had the little book that went with that, and yeah, I haven't seen it in forever, but I still remember the end and how they can't be friends anymore, and it's just so sad.
Friends.
Yeah.
I still sing that song all the time when I see my kids playing with like other kids and they're so happy.
Yeah.
Man.
A lot of Disney
Forgot
movies
about
on
the
this
ending
list,
though.
for
Thanks,
sure.
Craig.
Sorry. All right, we're going to change gears. Scariest movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, that'll
Back
cheer
to
us
Ross.
up.
There you go. Ross, what's the scariest
Who
movie
put
you've ever
this
seen?
list together? Goodness gracious.
First time I watched Nightmare on Elm Street because I was afraid to fall asleep. Every time I went to sleep, I was terrified, and he would just like pop in my head as I'm trying to fall asleep, and it did the job. Scariest movie I'd ever seen.
Thomas.
Salem's Lot. That was one I saw as a kid, probably way too young, and it was. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not. It's an older film, but the little boy who's floating at the window, who's dead, and oh man, it's just Nope, I'm gonna stop now because I'm having nightmares tonight. But that one, when I was a kid, and that one is still stay with me. Yeah, I would say Salem's Lot.
Yeah. David. Scariest movie.
Well, I'm not copying Ross this time, although that's a really good one, Ross. I have The Shining. The whole red room, that kid and it's murder backwards in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, like when he's riding that bike around the hotel and he sees the two girls standing there, those two girls freaked me out. By the way, it was a couple years ago, and you guys, you're on your computer, it says, where are they now? So it's like, where are the two girls, the twins? I looked at it, clicked on it, and it shows them now as adults, and they're even scarier. Okay?
How is that possible?
Oh my gosh. It's just like, they're still scaring me. So, The Shining. Oh my gosh. Jack Nicholson, that whole thing. Incredible.
Oh, great flick. Yeah. Dan, what about you? Scariest movie?
Poltergeist.
That's good pick.
That clown, get out of here.
The toy? Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, come on. That's unfair. And I don't mind clowns, but I hate dolls. I think they're so creepy. And my wife will sometimes tease me and like put a doll on the bed, and I'll just punt that thing into the neighbor's yard, man. I'm not dealing with that.
Do you need to talk to somebody? Like, that's not normal. She should not be doing that.
Do you guys know the story about that clown in that scene?
Wait, let me turn on the lights a little bit brighter before you keep going.
Yeah, about the malfunction. So yeah, so Spielberg was talking about that scene was done in one take because the mechanical arm around when it wrapped around the little boy's neck malfunctioned and began to really choke him. And Spielberg was saying, "Man, this kid's killing it. He's just delivering. He's just what an actor." And then he started to realize he wasn't acting, and they jumped in the scene and disconnected the thing. But they did it when that I remember seeing in the interview a long time ago. But somebody fact check that. But yeah, Dan, that's right. Clown dolls, no such thing.
No.
Shouldn't exist.
As they say in my country, no bueno.
Cory Clubb, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Yeah, so every year I try to pick something halfway scary for Halloween. And I asked my dad, I was like, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? Just to get his perspective. And he said, The Exorcist, don't watch it. And I was like, Dad, 1973. I'm old now. I got this. I thought I'll watch this. No big deal. I hate that movie. It's freed the crap out of me. Seriously. When she goes down those stairs and just all the other craziness, just the practicality of it. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, it's special effects, but no, it's just man, it just got to me. I will continue to say that my next generation is don't watch that movie. So
yeah, that's a good.
And Dan, you went to DC not too long ago. Did you go to Georgetown and go down the steps?
It came. I've never seen the movie, but when we did go to Georgetown
don't see it
on the Apple Maps thing, it said Exorcist Steps, and I texted Matt Martin right away. He's like, "Oh yeah, I love those."
Yeah, it's funny to see it.
No, I believe you. No, thank you.
Dennis, what about you?
Yeah, this is hard because I avoid scary movies and horror quite a bit. I don't enjoy that experience. But my choice is Alien. And that movie doesn't really scare me anymore today. But I remember as a kid, my father was fascinated by this movie and used to talk about it all the time. And my brothers and I wanted to see it. He's like, no, I don't think you guys should yet. Well, then we saw Aliens. I was like, well, that wasn't so bad. And then we saw Alien, and I didn't sleep for a week. I have a room on the front of my house on the second floor, and we had a little balcony outside. During the summer, I'd have the windows open, and then the wind would blow leaves or something like that. And I was convinced it was one of those face huggers crawling across there, and it was going to jump in my room and get me. So yeah, that was probably the scariest experience I've had with the movie.
Oh, that's a great pick. Justin, what do you got for scariest movie?
All right, I fully recognize this is not the scariest movie, but I think I saw it at a time in my life, and it just sat with me to the point where I still kind of a little bit have nightmares. I still have to run down that dark hall, just in case it grabs me. But 2004, The Grudge, something about that movie just scares the crap out of me. All right, let's move on. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay, all right, Schmidt, what do you got?
So I'm not a scary movie guy. I agree with Dennis on this. This is just not my genre. There's scary movies that come out, but I think of a movie that has scared me to my core that I will refuse to watch, that I was forced to watch as a kid. And to this point, I think I closed my eyes for most of that movie, The Dark Crystal. And I don't know what it was, just me being a kid and my brothers making me watch it, and the puppets and
it's creepy, dude. It's
just so creepy. And if I even see the picture for it, because I was looking it up, oh my gosh, it just freaks me out again. And I'm like, how in the world? I could not bear to be in a room if I worked on that movie and see those puppets sitting on the side, because I feel like they would turn their heads and look at you. So The Dark Crystal ruined me forever. And I think that probably is why I don't not watch scary movies, is because that movie alone. I don't even know what the plot is. Don't even remember how it ended, what it was about. I just remember being creeped out by him.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of elves that need rhinoplasty. It's scary.
Oh. And David Bowie's in that, isn't it? Right?
That's
Labyrinth. He's in Labyrinth.
Okay, well, that's the other one. See, I think those two, I get them mixed up. They're together. They're both creepy puppets.
Yeah, those are kid movies for Gen Xers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're fine with that.
Yeah.
Wow. For me, and I've said this just about anytime I've been asked this question, I will say Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho is the scariest movie I've ever seen. Because of it's realism ultimately. And that last scene when he looks at the camera and like you can hear mom's voice, and that just first time I saw it, it chilled me. And I watched it recently. I don't know if it scares me anymore, but I can appreciate it on a whole other level now. Well, just watching it, that's a perfect movie. It's so well done and just so creepy.
I've not seen that either.
Oh man, it's so good.
I want to for sure.
All right, this should be a fun one. Worst movie you've ever seen. Ross,
can I go
start
first? All right, I'll wait.
Dan, do you want to trade? Do you want to go first?
No, it's worth the wait.
All right. And this one, I'm curious how you and Cory are going to feel about this.
Oh, no.
The worst movie I've ever seen, and again, circumstantial, was Wonder Woman 1984.
Wow. Wow.
After how much I enjoyed the 2017 film and the fact it was Christmas Day and I had it all scheduled out, I was like, this is going to be awesome. I can watch this next. And then it was the biggest lump of coal I've ever received on Christmas.
Expectation
and I
is
will
the thief
never
of joy.
forgive that movie.
Say that again,
I think
Justin.
it's interesting.
Expectation is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
It's true.
I don't think that's the real quote, but it's something like that.
Mine is expectation without regulation equals fan constipation. That's mine.
Well, and I'm not a big DC person anyway, so I was just like, you guys got me.
Why do you think Cory and I would care that you didn't like that movie?
I think you are DC fans.
I love that whole Snyderverse.
It depends.
I'm not a Snyderverse guy, unlike our beloved host.
Guilty. Wait, that's almost that's a Superman quote. Thomas, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
This was hard because, again, I like movies. I mean, I'll watch movies and go through it. And I'm like, I'll try to find something redeeming in it. And this one kind of, I'm not going to say it's the worst I've ever seen, but it came out. I had to have something for this. But it's one I really didn't like, and I was so disappointed. Superman 3 with Richard Pryor. And, I mean, after Superman 2, I saw these as a kid, and I loved the first two. And then there was that one. And it was such a letdown. I just remember thinking, this is not Superman. But yeah, that's the one that came to mind for me.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I remember being let down by that too.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh, DC.
Yeah.
No, hey, I'm a Christopher Reeve fan. I mean, he's my Superman. But that one was just
Yeah. David, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Yeah, picking up on this issue of a third movie, right? Superman 3. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Horrible. No Michael Myers. Just, I don't even know what that was. And so, I don't know. Have you guys seen this thing?
Yes,
Everyone tells me it's great.
Oh,
Honestly.
there's no Michael Myers. I mean, this is like Superman 3. At least Superman 3 has Superman. This doesn't have Michael Myers.
I'm with you.
I
think that's one I've seen one time and never watch again.
Exactly. Once. Never watched it again.
Yeah. Okay, Dan. We've waited.
I think you know what I'm gonna say. Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is the worst, stupidest, most idiotic, and it's the opposite of verisimilitude. It's red hot garbage. It's just so stupid. It's so ignorant. You're actually being dumber when you watch it. Don't watch it, Craig. You're too smart.
But giant robots fighting giant monsters.
Exactly.
The CGI is so clearly CGI.
Well, of course, they didn't hire giant
You don't know what a
monsters.
giant robot looks like.
There's all these but you can't. It doesn't even look good.
Oh my god!
It does.
The Rancor looks better. I will. I will. Challenge accept. It's just ridiculous. And then there's all these stereotypes, and it's just stupid. It's just, if you take away the poor CGI, is it a good story? No, it's a bunch of morons and stilts. Garbage.
Oh, jeez.
I hate it.
But Ron Perlman, Idris Elba. Okay, yeah.
No.
I was kind of hoping that would come up at some point during this list.
Oh, I
just for that.
I almost put it for scariest too, but I didn't want to.
Wow.
I've actually watched that movie a couple times, and every time I'm like, maybe I'll like it this time. And
No.
it's the dialogue between Charlie Day and I forget the other actor's name that is his counterpart, but it's just so corny.
Andrew Dice Clay, I think. Yeah, it's terrible. I just don't like it.
All right. Cory Clubb, what is the worst movie you've ever seen?
Oh man, this was an easy pick for me. Every year as a family, we watch Christmas movies, and obviously they're cheesy, right? Like, I get it, they're Hallmark, whatever. But this one we landed on and thought I'll just be another random, Hallmark movie that's just cheesy. I'll read you a little quote here from like the rundown of it. A grown man admits he still believes in Santa, and his passion for Christmas nearly ruins his relationship with the woman of his dreams. I thought, okay, well that's the whole premise. This movie's called I Believe in Santa. He loves Christmas. He believes in Santa. I'm like, oh, it's a cute little story. Maybe he's like, Santa comes out at the end. And no, Santa never comes out. He's not related to Santa. There's nothing going on. He's just a psychopath who loves Santa. And she like falls in love with him at the end. Like, it's so bizarre. The on-screen chemistry is awful. So I had to do my research. I looked in this. They're actually real life couples in this movie. Like, they're actually husband and wife, and their chemistry is horrible on screen. The plot's awful. The actors are awful. It's the worst movie I've ever seen. Don't see
What's the downside? It sounds lovely.
Go right ahead if you want to like burn your retina out. Yeah.
I love that you pulled out a Hallmark movie. Right on, Cory Clubb.
I don't think it's Hallmark. Hallmark is better than
outstanding. Outstanding.
Dennis, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the worst, but it was the first one that came to mind, and that's Speed 2. The original Speed movie is a guilty pleasure. Yeah, that I enjoyed. But considering Keanu didn't come back for the sequel, should have been my first clue that this wasn't going to be good. But I like Sandra Bullock. I was like, hey, sure, let's go watch her for a bit. But then at the end of the movie, I just remember coming at it with my friends. I was like, that was just dumb. I don't even remember what happened in this movie anymore, but it was dumb. The stupid ship runs into the pier at the end. Like, well, what else it was going to do?
Who's the main actor? Is it Neil Patrick Harris?
I don't even
Jason
remember.
Patrick.
I've tried to erase as much of this movie from my memory as I can, and so far so good. But yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, I never watched that one. Justin, what's the worst movie?
Do you know what I'm going to say here, Craig?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I'm just curious if you see this coming here. The Flash.
Oh,
I hate that movie so much.
So
much. There are redeeming moments in that movie, but oh my goodness, what were they? Why? So many. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Just Craig. And I love you, but I love you less every time you say you like that movie.
But the love level is so high that you're safe.
Yeah. You're not going anywhere. But
just
man,
chipping away at that.
Just so
Man,
bad.
There's a definite DC theme here, huh?
That's okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
There's obviously worse movies, but that one just hurts.
You get a bad taste in your mouth.
Man of Steel, right up there. Yeah.
Oh no, I love Man of Steel.
No, you really don't.
Oh no, I really do. Oh no.
Oh my goodness, Cory, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Later.
Following that one, I'm going to take that off my Desert Island movie.
Oh,
I'm going to go with and this I don't know. We'll see the reaction here. Is Blade Runner. I knew it.
I don't disagree. I
have yet to watch that movie and not fall asleep. I am completely lost. I don't get it. It is so boring to me. And it's long, drawn out scenes. And
beautiful.
Now, in all of you fan defenses here, Craig has told me I watched the wrong version.
You did. You didn't watch the final
cut.
cut.
But at the same time, that's what makes it the worst movie is that there's so many versions out there that if
Star Wars, right?
regular guy comes and watches the wrong version, I'm ruined on the movie. So I'm like,
that's also true.
Another chance. I'm sorry, Craig. You're gonna have to
with Cory. I'm with Cory.
Do it again.
Yeah,
Cory,
that is not ready.
That is one of my favorite movies, like top 3. You
I know,
hurt
but
me,
you
sir.
hurt me with The Flash. I hurt you with Blade Runner.
The Flash can suck it. I hate that movie.
So bad. Slip you down. Okay. Mine should not be controversial. The worst movie that I have ever seen is Battlefield Earth.
Oh, yeah.
You guys seen that?
Scientology one?
No, I'll
That's the
take your word
Scientology
for
one.
it.
John Travolta. Yeah, no, that's a movie that had horrible reviews when it came out, and my dad was like, "Hey, you want to go see this?" I'm like, "It's going to be awful," and it was lower than my expectations. It's just one of the worst movies ever. It's ridiculous, just stupid in every
I
way.
really want to watch that movie now.
Yeah, it's really bad.
For this category, do you guys typically have like a meter where it's like if it's so bad it goes all the way around? Like it gets better?
It's not even
I tend to,
ironically good.
I feel like
No.
sometimes that happens.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, Cory, I have that one coming up in the next category.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. So this category, a little bit of a longer title, but movie with the worst reputation that you love. So it's regarded as not being very good, but you love it anyway. So Ross, what about you?
Cabin Boy, starring Chris Elliott.
I saw that in the theater.
Yeah, so did I.
These pipes are clean.
There are
my gosh.
so many lines in that a couple of friends and I will just text it to each other like decades later now, and it'll start uncontrollable laughter. So I love it because of that, but it's so bad.
Nice. Thomas, what about you?
This one hasn't gotten. I mean, there's not a lot of people that like it, I think, but it's one that I do enjoy watching, and it's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah,
So,
I
see,
love that
good.
movie
I'm in
too.
good company then. I mean, I even went back because I remember people panning it, and like Rotten Tomatoes has like a 50% or something, which these days isn't too bad. But
Not so bad, yeah.
but dude, Alan Rickman and
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and Morgan
Kevin
Freeman
Costner.
and Christian
Yeah.
Slater, and I mean, of course, Kevin Costner. And of course, you got to get past that. He has the same accent whoever he plays, but I loved that. It was a good movie.
Well, historians are still debating on what the old English accent actually sounds like.
I think it
developed
actually,
over time.
research says it could sound like Kevin Costner.
Quite
And
possibly.
you have the
Brian
Bryan Adams soundtrack.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Song
that's,
on
do,
there that was
yep.
so big as well.
that's a great one.
I've mentioned on this podcast a couple times how much I love that movie. It's amazing. I didn't
Yeah,
know
my-
it was not a well-loved movie until semi-recently, actually.
Yeah, I've just heard that too. I enjoyed it. Michael Kamen did an amazing score for it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that score. So anyway, that's mine.
That's a good pick. Let's see who we're up to. David, it's up to you.
Yeah, I don't know if this movie has a bad reputation. Maybe it doesn't even have any. I think it's a cult classic, but I kind of just wanted to talk about it anyways, just because it's a cool movie and I love it. But it's Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China.
I love that movie.
I just love that. Oh my gosh. And I don't know that it has a bad reputation. I just want to say Big Trouble in Little China on this recording. And it was so funny. To talk about how old it is, just real quick, I remember being in the theater with my dad. My dad just loved this movie. And we're sitting there watching it in little tiny Elma, Michigan. And all of a sudden, the projector stops, so the movie just starts to bubble. It just bubble. And it was over. I remember getting a little thing, and we came back the next night to watch it because it was fixed. So, yeah.
Even fate didn't want you to see that movie.
Justin's not a fan.
But we busted through it. It came back the next night. But Big Trouble in Little China. There you go.
Greg made me watch that movie. Literally strapped me down.
Oh,
And your life has been better because of it.
Yeah,
No.
seriously. He didn't
Yeah.
understand
I'm gonna
it
go
was
back
a
to
comedy.
scariest movie I've ever seen. It's that one. That's
Oh, it's so good. Love it. Dan, what about you? Movie you
So-
love that?
Yes. So the year was 1994. I'll read a couple of. It's got an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll read a couple of critics' quotes. Ill-conceived and desperately unfunny. Roger Ebert says it's not bad in an unusual way. It's bad in a brand new way. There's something extraterrestrial about it. Almost as if it's based on a sense of humor of an alien race with a completely different relationship to the physical universe. The movie is so odd, almost worth seeing because you'll never see anything like it again. I hope that movie is Clifford with Martin Short, who plays a 10-year-old boy, even though he's in his 40s. And it is so great. It's so great. It is so funny and so stupid. And it's got Charles Grodin. And it's just, it's so great. It's so stupid. And Martin Short is just, I'm like crying, laughing. It's so great. I love it. 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. And yet,
what do they know?
And yet it's an Oscar winner compared to Pacific Rim.
Cory Clubb, what about you?
Okay, my pick. It's also from 1994. It also has a 37% Rotten Tomatoes score. And this is the classic, The Shadow with Alec Baldwin.
Oh, yeah.
This movie
That's a good
is
flick.
fantastic. It's a great movie. I mean, it's a little goofy CGI-wise or special effects-wise, but, it got great, I think, actors. There's a good cast. I think it's moody. It definitely picks up on the noir style, old time adventure. But it's just a great time. I remember watching it as a kid and I was overtaken by it. I loved it.
I have action figures on my shelf right now from that movie.
Oh, nice.
Dennis, what's your pick?
So I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy, but given how much DC's been getting bashed upon in this episode here, time to throw them a little bit of love. And so my pick, I think, comes from 1995, and it features the third installment in this franchise, and it's Batman Forever. We have Val Kilmer taking over for Michael Keaton in the title role here. I don't know that it's got that terrible reputation. It's just that compared to the first two movies in the series, it certainly took its lumps. But I think I loved it just because I love Tommy Lee Jones' performance so much as Two-Face and Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I'm not a big Jim Carrey fan, but I really liked what he did in that role. It ends a little ridiculously, but I had a lot of fun with that. I loved the soundtrack, listened to it over and over again. I bought that movie on VHS and wore it out. And so, yeah, time to give DC some love.
Nice. That's a good pick.
Great choice. I love it.
I love that Joker. Or that Riddler. That Riddler was fantastic.
Yeah. Justin, what do you got?
Listen, I can hate the Flash and still love DC. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. So I did have Man of Steel on here, but we already discussed that. Daredevil with Ben Affleck is going to be my pick. Love that movie.
Yeah. Is this
It's
theatrical or director's cut?
Director's cut, obviously.
Yeah, the director's cut's good.
It's
Is it the playground fight, or is it where he has all the shards of glass that he throws at everybody?
Oh, both of them. Definitely.
Okay, good.
Well, I sympathize with the scene though where he flicks the peanut into the old lady's mouth, killing her on the plane.
Yes.
I think about that a lot.
That seems healthy.
Ew.
What a strange thing to say.
So when they hand out snacks, don't upset you.
Yeah,
Is what you're saying.
Cory, what do you got? What's your pick?
I am almost ashamed to say this one, especially after the last category. I'm not kidding. I've got it on here. And when you said it, you broke my heart a little, Craig. Battlefield Earth.
Oh, no. Wow.
I've got it right here.
You're the one.
I've got it right
Wow,
here.
yeah.
Whether or not to change it. I was like, oh, crap. Do I punt it or do I go with it?
Don't punt.
Because I am a sci-fi guy. I love sci-fi movies. And John Travolta in that movie, I feel like, hey, he worked hard to keep that movie from flopping. The main good guy, though, I can't remember his name, but he's
Johnny
all right.
Goodboy is the main guy.
They're future slaves to this alien race, and they learn how to fly Harrier jets. I mean, just by watching some VHS tape.
That could
This
happen.
is the pinnacle of sci-fi and alien invasion. I secretly love that movie. I think I might be the only one on Rotten Tomatoes that has voted that one up, and that's the
He's
way
the
it
one.
is.
True. You are
I'm
the
sorry
guy.
to admit that, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give DC some love too. And I could have said Man of Steel, but I'm going to go BVS. I'm going to go Batman v Superman, the ultimate cut.
Bold.
I've watched it recently. I showed my daughter. She had never seen it before. And I think that movie just gets stronger with age. I think it's going to be more highly regarded the longer it's out.
I love that
And the hate.
Craig. It's my favorite of the Snyderverse. I love that movie. Like, I defend that movie. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, and the Martha scene, whatever. Like she
Yes,
watched
that's
that.
good.
I think it was fantastic. And then I've said this many, many times. When I saw that in the theater, I anticipated what was going to happen. And was like, oh my gosh, and it worked for me emotionally, and it worked for my daughter emotionally, and a lot of people it doesn't work, and that's fine, but it works for me. So I will defend that movie to my dying day. I love it.
Yes.
Love that movie. Hate that scene.
That's fine.
That scene only gets better every time.
Okay, next category. Most highly regarded movie that you should have seen, but you haven't. Ross, what have you not seen that you should have?
I still have not watched Titanic.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, it's not even on Netflix, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'm just
No shame, but come on.
Not.
What takes
There's
like 3
nothing
weeks?
about it that draws me in. Like they're like, oh, but you need to at least see the CGI and the different things
Yeah.
they did, and I'm just like, I just don't care.
Interesting.
It is
Even after
really
last
neat.
year with the sub going missing and stuff, that
Yeah,
did
yeah.
nothing for
Well,
you.
I'm waiting until they do the sequel and show that part. Then I'll watch.
Thomas, what about you? What have you not seen?
Citizen Kane.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah, I've never seen Citizen Kane. I don't know why. I mean, I grew up on old flicks, but I still to this day haven't seen that one. I need to watch it.
David, what about you?
Hey, I sent this out as a picture to you guys just to get things fired up. The Godfather, and I haven't
What?
seen any of
Dude.
them.
Oh,
Dude.
no.
One,
Stop the
two,
show.
Good.
Go watch it right
Already
now.
Started driving down there.
Yes.
I know. So no, the Godfather 2. Apparently, I didn't miss anything with Godfather 3.
I like it.
Well,
That's awesome.
you watch the remastered one, the Godfather Coda. That's actually really, really good too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's it.
That's a good pick though. Dan, what about you?
Citizen Kane. It's our first repeat. Same with you.
Yeah.
Same with Thomas.
Yeah.
I know it's a classic. I'm a movie buff. I'm a cinephile. I've never seen it. I know I need to. So Thomas and I.
I need to do it.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, that's mine too. Yeah, I'll just spit it out now.
Wow,
That's-
look
yeah.
at that.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
Look
why
that.
have I not? It's on my list of things to see, but I haven't seen it.
Yep.
We're a bunch of posers, all of us.
I
yeah.
know, right?
Indeed.
Cory Clubb, what have you not seen?
Yeah, I'll say that last year I saw Citizen Kane for the first time. Worth it. My oldest son told me to take a chance, and so
Cool.
I did. My pick though is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Haven't seen it.
Really?
And every time I think I'll sit down and watch that, it just seems like it's going to be so boring, and I just
It
don't
is.
want to waste my time. I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't care for that one, but
I haven't seen
Yeah,
it
me
either.
Well, and
book was
Kubrick
great,
is
though.
my favorite director, so I love the fact that he has been sprinkled throughout this episode as we've gone through things. So
true.
in
That's
all
true.
these different categories, and Kubrick's so good at that of just like poking the bear in different audience segments. So it's pretty cool.
nice. Dennis, what about you? What's your pick for something you haven't seen?
Oh, I was going to say Citizen Kane as well, but since that's been brought up several times already, I'm going to say The Shawshank Redemption. That is a movie that so many of my friends have seen, and I just kind of had to not participate in conversations when it's come up over and over and over again.
Wow.
And it's been sitting in queues on various streaming services for me for the longest time, and I just have not made an opportunity to watch it yet. So I got to get that done.
Yeah, I would highly encourage you to watch that movie. It's excellent.
Agreed.
Justin, what have you not seen?
This has ruined my life socially because there's a lot of quotes that I don't get from this. In my mind, these are the same movie because I've never seen either one of them. But Tommy Boy and Dumb and Dumber, never seen them.
Oh,
Very
Whoa.
different. Both hilarious.
dang.
Both hilarious.
But they're so constantly quoted that I just
How do you know it's
95% of my quotes are from Tommy Boy. I cannot believe
Yeah.
we're even friends.
that's why I
Playing
never
with your
laugh
dinghy.
when you talk, Corey.
Okay, we're gonna
Fake.
have to strap
All
Justin
fake.
down for those movies.
Well, here's the thing. They were popular, like really popular when I was in high school, and kids would quote them all the time. And now I just like cringe every time I hear a quote from that movie because it was just everyone was quoting it. And I'm just sick of it. Same reason I don't like Chris Farley. Just everyone was
Oh
quoting him
man,
all the
yeah,
time.
Tommy, I'm gonna make you watch it.
It's been ruined for me.
It's still charming. It still works. I showed my kids like 6 months ago, and they loved it.
Yeah,
it's
he said that
actually kind of
Big
it's
Trouble in
sweet
Little
too,
China.
which is kind of interesting. Corey, what have you not seen?
All right, so I had 2 on this, and I was gonna go with Godfather, but that was sad. So I was like, okay, because that's one I've never seen any of the Godfather movies. I've seen clips of them.
Corey and David, that's actually a sin. That's the 11th commandment.
It is, especially I know Go to the Mattress because of You Got Mail. That's where I learned that quote. But the movie that I'm gonna say, the other one is Inglourious Bastards. I have never watched it.
Oh, that's good.
It's
That's
such a
good film.
I love Brad Pitt. I love the characters in there. I love the guy who's the bad villain Nazi in that.
Oh, he's
Christoph
brilliant.
Waltz.
One of the best
Is
performances. you'll ever see.
incredible in so many movies, and I feel like, oh gosh, I got to go back and watch this. And it's kind of like, yeah, I've got it in my queue, and I always plan to, and I just never. I feel like it's too much of an investment to do, and I haven't. And
it's an excellent anti-war film. It truly is. It's brilliant, and it's one of the best performances you will ever see.
The cast in that is incredible. I mean,
Oh,
Shia LaBeouf, the guy who
Yeah,
played was from Walking Dead and The Punisher.
John Bernthal.
He's in it.
Yeah.
Like I know the cast in it, and I feel like
Fassbender,
it's epic. And how I haven't seen it, I don't know.
Christoph.
Gorlami.
Okay, well, mine was Citizen Kane. We already mentioned that. So we're on to most highly regarded movie that you think is just okay. So Ross, it's just okay. What do you think?
I didn't see it in the theater because it was another one where I was just kind of like, Avatar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the story, like it visually, it's stunning. Like it's gorgeous. It just, as a movie, I'm just like, okay, this is just the same story that's been told time and time again, and I just found nothing special about it that way.
Yeah, seeing that in the theater, I think was really important.
That's the experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't.
For me,
seen
that
it.
was.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's
Thomas,
not as
what about
impressive now as it once was.
That's true.
That's fair.
Thomas, what about you? What do you think is just, it's all right.
The Deer Hunter. And
I have not seen that yet.
Yeah, great movie.
Depressing.
It is, and that's the thing I think about. Probably that's why I think that way about this movie. But it just, they didn't. I don't know. That one didn't leave me like challenged. Even it didn't have to be a happy ending, and this one's not. But it was just okay to me. I really wanted to like it, but it's just okay.
David, what about you?
Well, I'm back to copying Ross again. Avatar, even the second one, I've watched both. It's big, tall people, blue people. I'm not really that. It's just, I know it's just a visual spectacle, no question, but
you read the ride at Disney?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't even done that.
It's my favorite.
Kingdom, so
The ride's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the best thing at Disney, the ride.
Yep.
Better than Rise of the Resistance, Dan?
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's high praise.
I will second Dan on that one.
It is. It really is. Because the
Tom throws
sensation.
laugh on it.
That's the big thing.
It's a more visceral experience.
Yep. And
Nice. Dan, what's your pick? Something that's just, it's okay.
This is actually harder for me than any of the other ones. I guess I'd say Gone with the Wind. Because it's my wife's favorite movie, my mom's favorite movie. The first half of it is exceptional. The second half is ridiculous, and I just had a hard time with it. And it's, but if it was just the first half, I would say it's a masterpiece. But the second half just did not work for me. So just okay.
Cory Clubb.
Yeah, this is interesting. And maybe it was because I did a back-to-back movie last summer. I want to say Oppenheimer. Went and saw the Barbie Oppenheimer back-to-back. And
whoa.
highly regarded, obviously. Yes, fantastic movie, but I thought it was just okay. Like, I don't know if I was waiting for something crazy to happen or Nolan to do his Nolan thing. Not that it's not a fantastic movie, but yeah, I just think it's okay.
Overrated.
Something crazy to happen, like an atomic bomb going off.
Oh, Corey.
Yeah,
You need
I
to see it
just thought
again,
there'd be,
Heichman.
it'd be
Spoiler
bigger.
alert.
Well, that's again, it's like, so to your point around Titanic, like I have to commit to 2+ hours, and just, I think the length of a movie is kind of like, man, I need to really sit down and
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
ready myself. But
Yeah.
maybe that's just me.
Dennis, what's your pick?
American Beauty. I remember seeing this movie with a whole bunch of people and coming out of the theater and was not expecting to talk about it, but then everyone was just raving about it. And I was like, wow, I think we saw two different movies. And I just couldn't get into it, didn't appreciate it, and then was really surprised when it got nominated for as many Oscars as it did. And yeah, so I still don't get the fascination with that one.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
I agree.
Justin.
So Spider-Man No Way Home.
Hmm.
I love the first two Spider-Man movies, and that movie has a lot of really cool stuff in it. But if you take out the nostalgia, there's not a whole lot of story. It's just kind of like, let's throw a bunch of nostalgia, which is great. I love it. But upon subsequent rewatches, there's not a lot of substance.
I love you, Justin, but you're dead to me.
That hurts.
That's
Ouch. Let's
that
give me some
cuts.
fights in the parking lot after this episode.
Yeah, no.
Heichman.
We'll hug. We're gonna hug it out. We're gonna hug it out.
There we go.
Don't you worry.
It's a
Yeah.
group therapy session.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like the movie. It's just
no one saw it.
No, that's fair. That's an important caveat. I take it all back. You've
Okay,
resurrected. Yeah.
I will rewatch it many times, but there's just not a lot of substance. It's just here's some feelings.
All right.
All right, Schmidt, go
So I
for
was
it.
going to
Yeah.
go with Avatar, Dances with Wolves in Space, but it's been said, so I'm going to go with my other one that I really think is just okay. The Creed movies. I think that they're.
Oh, wow.
What?
I
you
don't
hush your
think
mouth.
they hit as good as Rocky. I think it's
Well-
great. It's great, but it's an investment to
won.
watch. It's the same formulaic Rocky story, just with Creed, and there's a little bit more. There's some boring stuff in there. I don't know. It's not a movie I would sit down and watch again. I think it's okay. I didn't watch.
Yeah.
I think I watched the first one in the theaters, and then every one after that, I just waited till streaming.
2 and 3
Corey,
are
how do we
okay.
have a
The
podcast
first one's
together?
Great.
I don't know.
Yeah, I took you to go see two. We Drago's back. Oh my gosh.
Do you know how many
Yeah, but
times I
there's-
had to pretend like I was pooping to finish that movie?
Oh,
Watched it on my phone.
it's okay.
Now we have the answer.
It's okay.
I was enthralled.
Okay. Mine is going to be controversial, I think.
Uh-oh.
Scarface
I never saw it.
Hmm.
Never seen it.
Never seen
with
it.
Pacino. Yeah, I hadn't seen it until a couple months ago. I was like, yeah, I really should watch this, being a cinephile. I need to watch Citizen Kane. There's some other movies on this I need to watch. And I finally sat down and watched it and was like, it's fine. It's okay. It's not great. I mean, if I'm going to go Brian De Palma movies, I'm probably going to go with The Untouchables. Is going to be my number one, but yeah, it was just okay. So that's mine.
That's good. Nothing is as egregious as the two of you not seeing The Godfather.
And I will say this about The Godfather:
Gonna go
I've
to bed.
watched it multiple times over the years, and I've only now begun to appreciate it.
Wow.
I think that does a little bit for me. It came with age, and now I'm just like, oh man, it is a masterpiece. It is a slow burn, but I'm ready for that now.
Just
Which
like
I think
The Sopranos
that's the
or
Blade
what?
Runner thing too, though.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
What's that?
Is it just like The Sopranos? Like same thing?
But 50 times better. And I think The Sopranos
Yeah.
is a masterpiece.
Yeah, the world building is just so intricate. Like you have to. It is an investment, but you have to just be like, yep, I'm going to sit back and just let it wash over me. And I did that last time I watched it, and I was like, yes, it's that.
All
good.
three are good.
The first two are the first two both won Best Picture.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the third one has an amazing performance of grief that shook me to the core. For whatever else you want to say about that movie, when he grieves his daughter,
Yeah.
that was not acting to me. That felt real.
Yeah, There's a lot to like in the third one, the theatrical, and then there is, like I mentioned earlier, he redid it on the 20th anniversary. So it's called Godfather Coda, the death of Michael Corleone, I believe. Watch that version if you get a chance. Okay, best movie that you never need to see again. Once is good enough. Ross.
So I'm going way back here to 1925, black and white, silent film. I saw it my senior year of college, showed up to a film class, and the professor was just at a USC film school. It's just like, who has cars? And he's like, do we have enough cars to get everyone to this place about a half hour away? This theater was showing Battleship Potemkin with a live mini orchestra doing the music for it. And it was brilliant. Russian Revolution. I don't know that I need to see it. It will never live up to the first time I saw it, so I don't care if I see it again. But just how everything came together, and just a college class at the last minute saying, oh, we're not going into class, we're going to see this movie, and with a live orchestra, it was super cool. So that's Battleship Potemkin, directed by Sergei Eisenstein from 1925.
That's another one I've not seen before, and it's on my list, and I'm glad you have reminded me of that.
Yeah, the visuals are pretty amazing, especially considering the time.
Right. That's what I've heard.
So, Thomas, what's your pick for this?
Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Joaquin did a great job as an actor, but it was to me, it was so disturbing in parts that I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to see that again. I appreciate his skill as an actor. I appreciate, I like looking at multiple at a different take on Arthur's story. But yeah, I thought I was good on that.
Will you see the next one?
That's a great question. Probably will. See in theaters. I'll probably just wait till it comes out, just as a time thing. But yeah, I do think I'll see it. But and again, it'll probably just be once. but yeah, I don't know how you guys felt about Joker, but that was it for me.
Yeah, about the same for me.
I completely agree with you. Masterful, but just too depressing, and mental illness is no joke. And
right.
David, what about you?
Yeah, I think this one, when I read the question, it struck me kind of like the saddest movie, and it's kind of a back and forth for me. It's like best movie you never need to see again, but I need to see him again, and that's Schindler's List I had for this, and then saddest movie, Saving Private Ryan. Both are movies I just don't. They're rough, they're difficult to watch. I think you need to watch them. I've seen both of them twice now. I saw them both originally in theaters, like Dennis was mentioning, going to see Schindler's List. I was in grad school at the time, and I watched both of these just recently because my son went to Europe, and part of the trip was going to Auschwitz. So I wanted to watch these movies with him beforehand. But kind of like I need to see them again. I don't want to see them. It's a back and forth kind of thing, but that's kind of how I interpreted that one. But yeah, Schindler's List on that one.
Yeah, that's my pick as well. So I'm just going to throw that in. Yeah. Dan, what about you?
Schindler's List.
Yeah.
A marvelous, masterful film that leaves you. I think it does something. I think you can read about something, but I think there's something about the visuals of that film, or the Passion of the Christ, that just stick with you and bring history to life in profound, beautiful, haunting ways. And I don't ever need to see it again, not because it's not brilliant, but I just can't. I just can't. It did what it needed to do. I recommend it to everyone to see at least once you're of a certain age. But yeah, I don't want to do it again. It's too horrible. Even when I read Mouse, the incredible graphic novel, I thought this is a brilliant book, brilliant graphic novel, but I can't read it again. The Holocaust is too horrible.
Yeah. Cory Clubb.
Feeling depressed. No, I'm going to go with Thomas's answer. I had the Joker as well. For the same reason, Dan, you and I went and saw that. And walking out of that theater, man, and feeling just off. I felt like sick to my stomach. And I don't mean, typically you go to movies to escape, and I just did not. I mean, as good as it was, I'm not saying it was a bad movie. Again, you have to kind of prepare yourself to sit down and watch it, and you're going to follow up with, will you see the next one? I'm on the fence. I know it's going to be a cinematic like masterpiece, but it's like, man, do I want to go do that again? And add to music. So it's like, I don't know. It's like in itself, it's kind of like you kind of have to, as a moviegoer, you kind of feel like I need to go experience this, but then I guess that does its job then. So I guess that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Dennis, what's your pick?
I was going to say Schindler's List as well, but since I've already used that answer for something else, I'm going to talk a little bit about Full Metal Jacket. Saw that one in college as well.
Good.
For a philosophy of war and peace class. And, we had a lot of interesting debates about war, peace, and why you go to war and the such before we saw that in that class. And then we saw that movie, and it was moving and riveting and made me understand things about a lot of people that I'd grown up around that I didn't understand before. Mm-hmm. And now I don't ever want to see it again. Once was enough.
And that is my favorite Kubrick film.
Kubrick again, man. Yeah. Look at that.
It's one of my favorites of his also. Powerful.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through, so it's on my list to watch.
It's
Justin.
So a couple weeks ago, my wife and I watched a movie, and it like changed my worldview, like just the way I saw things. And I remember when the movie ended, I turned to my wife and I said, that movie was so good, but I never need to see it again, like exactly how this question is worded. Mm-hmm. And for the life of me, I can't remember what movie that was. My wife and I went through like all of our streaming history. We talked about all the movies we've seen recently, and like it's driving me nuts.
What happens in it?
Who's an actor?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Were you asleep?
No.
Surely we could crack the code.
Oh, I'm gonna remember, and then I'm gonna wake up.
You gotta let us know.
Like, dang it.
Yeah. Things to wake up.
Movie buffs in here. We could find it.
I don't remember anything.
Anything about it? Name one thing.
It was. I remember it was a slower movie. It was like kind of.
Well, there are people in it.
Blade Runner.
Speed or Speed 2.
Was it?
Was it
cartoon,
realistic or was it like science fiction?
You're asking questions. I don't have answers.
See the text is tonight at like 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Yes, please
like I
let us
went
know when you
through.
figure that out.
I checked like Disney Plus and Hulu and Paramount and Netflix.
Probably
and,
Netflix.
Like, my watch history. I'm like, what is it? It's something. Anyway, I did have Joker as a placeholder here because I absolutely loved that movie, but I went back to watch it and I was like, I don't think I can do this again. But I loved it.
Pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think we're all very much in that boat.
Yeah. It's fair. All right, Schmidt.
I got a movie on there and it's kind of one of those categories where you get a twist at the end. Like, I absolutely agree with Schindler's List, Passion of the Christ, those movies. But this one I put because I thought when you see a movie that has such an epic twist, there's no way that you can rewatch it knowing that's coming to get that same effect. Sixth Sense type effect.
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
But it's not Sixth Sense. It's going to be the movie Seven with Brad Pitt.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good movie. It's a very thriller movie. It's very disturbing. I would classify it in the Joker category. Mm-hmm. But at the end, I was like, the twist at the end, I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing to do, and I never need to see it again.
Yeah, that's a good
Another movie like that is The Mist.
Yes.
The ending of that was really
another one that does that to you. And you feel so bad in the end of that movie. God,
that's right.
Nice. Well, we only have one more left, and first off, I just want to say thank you to everybody for sticking around. I've kept you far longer than I meant to, and I really appreciate you guys, especially those who are in other time zones. But this is the last one, the Desert Island movie. If you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be? Ross.
Runner-up is Rogue One, but the one that I'm actually taking with me is Casablanca.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Wow.
It's a great flick. Oh my gosh. Thomas.
I wanted this answer to be A New Hope or Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it's The Goonies.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Nice. David?
Oh yeah, A New Hope, Star Wars, the original. It started it all for me. That's why I'm on a podcast talking to all you guys.
Dan?
Honestly, I would say Pacific Rim because even on my worst,
I knew it.
even on my worst day on the island, like
Worked.
I can't find any fish or sand in my
That's right.
underwear.
I just
But
want-
all I gotta do is put on that movie and remember life's not that bad because I don't have to
Right.
watch this one.
That's
I don't
well played.
understand you, man.
Words
I
out
don't get you.
myself.
Well played.
No, I don't. There's no movie I could just watch on repeat. I get desensitized to them. And then they don't have the same magic for me and the same allure. So if I was going to take a serious answer, I would probably say something like White Christmas or Raiders of the Lost Ark, just because I love those so much. But I would be very sparring in when I would play them.
Yeah. Cory Clubb.
You know, it's funny because you always think of your favorite movie, like, oh, I could watch that. I mean, you know, you said Raiders of the Lost Ark, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, you know, like those are all like obviously picks. But I kept thinking about this and I thought, man, if I'm going to watch a movie, I want also like a lot of mix and I want a lot of things happening. Plus music. I mean, if I want to listen to music, I can't only listen to music through the film. I picked Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie.
Cool.
That movie has everything. I feel like it's got comedy, action, drama. The music soundtrack is fantastic. And I just think if I'm on an island, I can just dance my worries away.
Great choice.
Yeah, that's a
that's
really good
fun.
pick. Dennis, what do you got?
Since I only bring one, I'm not going to do anything Star Wars because I want them all. But my answer is The Princess Bride. And
Oh, dang.
good
That's
one.
good.
yeah, it's a fantastic movie. I remember loving it as a kid, but then it's meant an awful lot in my marriage. My wife and I danced to the theme at our wedding. The book was the first gift she ever gave me, and we've shown it to our kids, and I've seen it a lot. And again, it's one of those movies I went to the quote along at the Alamo Draft House once and had the time of my life doing. And so, yeah, I can watch that movie anytime.
Beautiful.
I have goosebumps. That's beautiful. I love
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome. Oh,
yeah,
man,
it's so
love it.
nice.
Justin, Desert Island movie.
All right, so since we're doing runner-up, The Count of Monte Cristo. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
So
Good
much
call.
fun.
Interesting.
Good call.
And then movie that I could watch over and over because there's just so much content in it, I feel, and so many like snarky one-liners. Into the Spider-Verse.
Nice.
Yeah, that movie, regardless of how I'm feeling, like if I am feeling kind of like down that day, like it'll just bring me right back up. I love that movie.
It's terrific. The sequel as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do love the sequel. I love the first one more, but the sequel is amazing.
For sure. For sure.
Did
Hi,
you
Schmidt,
mean
what do you
Count
got?
of Monte Cristo with
Yeah.
Jim Caviezel? That
Caviezel.
one, that
Yeah.
version.
The one we just watched.
Yeah, because that one was fantastic.
Did that for the show.
Good pick,
Yeah.
Justin.
Wow.
All right, for me, I'm gonna go with action, drama, comedy, and breaking the fourth wall with soundtrack. It's not even out yet, so I'd have to get an advanced copy for the Desert Island. I'm going with Deadpool and Wolverine because I have had so much fun with that movie, and if I'm scrolling through videos and stuff on the internet, and a dang clip from that comes on, and I'm watching it, it's just there's so much in there, and I'm gonna tell you, Hugh Jackman acts incredible in that movie.
Yeah.
And some of the lines he gives to Ryan Reynolds are just like Hugh Jackman is the talent to be so
Yes.
angry and mean in the car, but in powerful ways. And then he give a speech at the end, and he's the X-Men. Anyway, I think that movie is going to be a top of all time movie, and Ryan Reynolds gets what fans want in movies. and these heroes and these comic books, bringing them to life. It's like the perfect thing to get on a desert island. So
Yeah, and the really smart cameos that go with it as well, like that.
it's
Just
everything
so-
you want. It's like, why can't directors just, you know what we want, just do it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah.
Even the comic accurate Wolverine cameos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like Disney needs to do this with some Star Wars stuff. Just give people what we want. So there we go. I think it's just a great movie. I love that
Yeah.
movie.
Gubernatorial. Yeah. I'm gonna go Raiders of the Lost Ark for my movie I have to watch over and over again. That movie just
good.
never gets old for me. It's a perfect movie. We talked about this on the show, and I'm just incredibly impressed every time I watch it how well paced it is. It's under 2 hours, which
Genius.
blows my mind.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect movie.
I did want to mention, too, that we had a couple of other guests that were scheduled originally but weren't able to make it tonight. The Mike Pilot from Full of Sith and Aaron Harris from Star Wars Reactions. Originally were going to be on the show with us but weren't able to make it tonight. They were gracious enough, however, to send us voicemails. So I'm going to go ahead and play those now.
Hi, this is Mike Pilot, producer of Full of Sith, and I'm here today to answer the Roundtable questions for the 100th episode. First of all, I want to say congratulations. It's a great feat, and you're doing a great job, and I look forward to many more episodes to come. And again, thank you for asking me these. I'll just go right down the list. Number 1, first movie I ever saw. It was Star Wars. Now, I was 2, but I was in the theater, and I was watching it. But the first movie I remember is Empire Strikes Back. I was like 5. And, 6. And that changed my life. Seeing Darth Vader reveal himself to Luke as his father and being with my dad, it was just life-changing and crazy. The funniest movie I ever saw is Dumb and Dumber, hands down. I watched that movie countless times. If I ever need a pick-me-up or a good laugh, I go back to it. It's so dumb, it's genius, and I'll never not find that movie funny. Saddest movie I ever saw is A Dog's Purpose. It was a good movie. The book was better, but I've never had a movie make me bawl, like terribly cry like that movie. I don't need to see it again. Scariest movie I ever saw. I was going to say that Fire in the Sky, that alien abduction movie with those guys in Arizona in the forest. But I'll go with a different alien movie, and that's The Fourth Kind with Mila Jovovich, with the owls, and that freaked me out. Worst movie I ever saw, Natural Born Killers. Saw it in the theater. I stayed because I'm polite. Tried to watch it again. It's horrible. The story's terrible. I hate it. Gross. Just not for me. Movie with the worst reputation that I love. I'm going to go with Ed Wood. When it came out, a lot of people hated on that movie, but the more time goes on and the more times I've watched it, because I find it quirky and funny. Johnny Depp was amazing as Ed Wood, and that's my answer. The most highly regarded movie I should have seen but haven't yet seen. I say it like every 3 or 4 months, man, I got to watch Schindler's List. I really got to get around to watching Schindler's List. But I just haven't, and at almost 50 now, I'll get to it, but not yet. The most highly regarded movie I think is just okay. I'm going to go with Dune. Any of them. Nothing against Dune, just I wasn't inspired, I wasn't uninspired. Best movie I never need to see again. This was a hard one, and I thought I'd want it for a while, and then I think I'll kick myself because something else will come up later. But I'm going to go with Apocalypse Now. Yeah, I really thought it was a great movie. Just never watched it again. My Desert Island movie, if I could only watch one movie for the rest of my life. So, how don't I say Empire, or Rogue One, or any of the Indiana Jones movies, or Shawshank, Goodfellas, The Godfather, Fight Club, any of those movies, they're all amazing. But if I think of one movie that covers all the bases for me, it's clever, it's cute, it's hokey, it's funny, it's sad, it's emotional, it's inspiring, I'm going to go with my good friend Forrest Gump. And again, thank you for having me answer the questions. I wish I could have been here for the live recording, but our daughter's not graduating. Our daughter is going to college, and we have plans at the time the show is recording. But again, congratulations, and I wish you all the best. May the force be with you always.
Hey guys, it is Aaron from Star Wars Reactions. I really regret not being able to be there with y'all for your 100th episode, but man, 100 episodes, congratulations. Definitely y'all have put in the hard work, made a great show, 100 fantastic episodes, and I tell you, it is awesome to see where y'all have gone, and I'm excited to see what the future has in store. So, again, congratulations, and may the force be with you.
Once again, that was the Mike Pilot from Full of Sith and Aaron Harris from Star Wars Reactions. And both of those guys are just great friends of me and of the show. And just really appreciate their support and their taking the time to participate in this show.
All right, before I let you guys go, I want to give everybody an opportunity to plug anything you got coming up or you got going on right now. And I'm not going to call on you individually because I don't want to put you on the spot, but just jump in when you feel ready if you have something that you would like to share.
Welcome back to the faculty and the students that are coming back for another awesome year at Butler University. And because it didn't make anywhere in the list, I still need to call out Young Frankenstein because that's in my top 3 as well.
Yes.
Well, if you're interested in the Clone Wars, we just started a rewatch over on Podcast Stardust, and we went all the way back to episode 1 and could not believe how far that show has come and how far Star Wars animation has come over the last several years. So join us for that. We've been having a great time with that.
All right. Sure. Coffeewithkenobi.com. I got a ton of D23 coverage, including an exclusive interview I had with Doug Chang, Rob Brito. I got something, Manny Jacinto, and my new book, Star Wars Encyclopedia, is coming out in November.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll piggyback off of Dan. We do our weekly Patreon show on CWK. It's a blast there. We talk about, I guess, anything we want to. And it's always a blast to hang with those guys. Catch me on Twitter at Cory Clubb.
I'll jump in and just say congrats on 100 episodes.
Yes.
All
Thank
of
you
us
so
on
much.
here know that podcasting and producing this and committing to this is a lot. And so congrats on doing that. Anything over, what is it? What do they say? Over 8 episodes or something? You know, most don't get past 8, I guess. But super congrats to you guys. And yeah, I wish Aaron would have been on tonight, my co-host on Star Wars Reactions. Just check us out. We're going to have fun tomorrow night recording about our favorite lightsaber duels. So we're going to
Nice.
we got that queued up for tomorrow night. So, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys could make it. Thomas, you said you started the school year back. What else you got going on?
Yeah, so for those educators who are listening, I just launched earlier this year a new Imagineering Education course, which provides you with resources and know-how on how to create most engaging and immersive experiences and spaces for your students. And so that's going well. Launched the course, and right now I am wrapping up the book, companion to go with it. So hopefully that'll come out later in the year. And you can find me at Imagineering Ed on Twitter or imagineeringedu.com. So I've got some more consulting gigs coming up this fall with working with some school districts in Kentucky. And so I'm always available to work with any teachers or students or admin on how to really create immersive spaces and experiences for your students.
Love it.
So good.
So
And
for
I'm gonna
us,
plug Craig
ahead.
Dickinson real quick,
Yeah.
because I'm going to tell you right now, this guy is a genius when it comes to movies and depths of things he's made us learn and watch and do and talk about. And Craig, you have been fantastic. It's been a privilege to just be a part of a few episodes and jump in and kind of ride your coattails and definitely try and keep up with you. But, and then to meet such legendary people like everybody in here. And there's just the number of people and experiences I've had just talking about things that we love to talk about, movies we love, hate, worst movies, scariest movies, all these things. It's just incredible conversations to have with people that outside of my normal circle of people that I see on a weekly basis, to across the US and talk to. And so it's a privilege to ride your coattails, man.
You're way too kind. You and Justin bring so much to the show. It's ridiculous. I'm so thrilled to have you guys on, to get to talk to you guys every couple weeks about movies. And we do want to talk just briefly about what we're going to do moving forward. We've been pretty much just kind of random, just kind of following trends and just doing movies that we want to do without a whole lot of overarching plan to what we're doing. But that's going to change coming up. So we're basically going to be focusing on series and themes moving up. So we've got a series planned, the films of Christopher Nolan. We're going to do the films of Steven Spielberg. But the next one we're going to do, and yes, this is a little bit following trend. It kind of worked out perfectly that way. We're going to do Marvel before the MCU. So we're going to start off with Blade. That's going to be our next episode.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah. So we're very excited about that. I'm looking back at some of those movies I haven't seen in a while, and we've kind of just organically talked about that too. It's like, this would be really fun. We should talk about Daredevil. We should talk about X-Men, and I think it's going to lay out. That's pretty nice to be able to kind of knowing where the MCU goes. Like, how did we get there? So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much for having me, gentlemen. The three of you are just magic, and just a pleasure to be a part of it, and just so impressed. Keep up the amazing work. You're informing and entertaining and educating us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Very kind. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to say? Or we're going to go ahead and cut out of here.
Keep supporting movie theaters.
Yes.
Supporting movie theaters.
Yeah,
Thank you all so much for listening. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Email us at readingbetweenreels@gmail.com, or you can use the SpeakPipe app on our website. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and review us on iTunes or Spotify. And one last thing. As we mentioned before, our next several episodes will focus on the Marvel films released before the creation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we're going to begin with a review of Blade. Send us an email or voicemail about your favorite moments from Blade, and we'll share it on the next episode.